And hello, everyone. I am Violet Lee, and some people know me as a Tai Chi examiner. Today, I am extremely honored and also happy to introduce you Professor Gloria Yeh. And of course, some of you probably already know her through her, how should I say it, more than 20 scientific studies on the healing art of Tai Chi Qigong, yoga, meditation, on health. And then some of you have seen her at a conference or different places. But today, and you can listen to her close up in person, and I'm very excited and have this experience talking to Professor Yeh. And Professor Yeh, as I mentioned, she has done all kinds of research regarding the health benefit of the healing art. She's with Harvard Medical School, and she's also a physician. She is a doctor, and she sees patients. So it's a very unique, and she really sees on both sides, from the academic side and also from the clinical, very practical side. So she and Dr. Peter Wen and another research scientist at the Harvard Medical School, and they are hosting or organizing the symposium, and it's called Science of Tai Chi and Qigong, the Whole-person Health Conference, and which will be held the first time in September in Boston. And when I first saw it, I was very excited, and which catch my eyes, the two elements. One is about the science, about the healing art. And a lot of people just say, oh, those are pseudoscience. But if the Harvard Medical School is hosting this conference, then I think it puts a lot of credibility on the Tai Chi and Qigong regarding its health benefit. And another thing is, and I guess in the West, we are so used to, so-called target medicines and the target treatment. And very few people understand what whole person health is all about. So before we talk more about the conference itself, and Professor Yeh, would you mind explain what means whole person health? Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Violet. Actually, thank you for that introduction and for those comments. So yeah, the conference name actually is the Science of Tai Chi and Qigong as Whole Person Health, right? So advancing the integration of mind-body practices in contemporary healthcare. So, so you ask, sort of what is whole person health? So I think about whole person health as really recognizing the many important interconnections that make up our whole person. So the concept that our physiological systems are all connected and they interact with one another. So like our cardiovascular system interacts with our lungs, and our GI system, like the gut-brain connection, right? Like their microbiome can really affect many of our systems and how we think and how we feel, and how we think our cognitions, our emotions can affect our physiology, our stress, things like that. So we're very good in modern medicine at breaking things down into smaller parts, right? So understanding the individual components, sort of the reductionist model. But whole person health really reminds us to put those pieces back together again, right? To make up that whole person. And in doing so, it really recognizes and understands the interconnections for a more comprehensive understanding of our whole person and of our health, right? It also, whole person health also recognizes a more, they call socio-ecological model of health, where the person really sits within this greater context so that our relationships, right, interpersonal relationships matter, our community matters, the broader environment, nature, our climate, our earth, all of those play a role in health. It's not a new concept, right? So it's, these concepts have really been around for a really long time and very core to a lot of East Asian or traditional kind of paradigms of health. But more recently, this whole person health idea has just been emphasized and more highlighted with the advancement of sort of complementary and integrative health, sort of this whole field, which really emphasizes whole person health. And in particular, the National Institutes of Health, the NIH's National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health, has really articulated whole person health as one of its core missions and strategies. And that's pushed forward by their director, Dr. Helen Langevin, and also other sort of national healthcare system leaders like the VA, the Veterans Affairs Medical System, which also has a big initiative on whole health. So that's whole health, and so I wonder, you might ask sort of like, how does then Tai Chi and Qigong sort of fit, within whole person health? And to me, so we talk about Tai Chi and Qigong as being this very, rich and complex, many pieces to this healing art, right? It's multimodal, multi-component. Very simply, we say that there's the meditation, the mindful awareness piece. There's maybe some breath work and breathing, and there's the physical movement. There's, strength, dynamic balance, and just to name a few, right? So multiple components, and therefore, Tai Chi and Qigong might be sort of really ideal types of therapies or interventions to then impact these multiple systems and multiple physiological sort of targets, right? So, so that's what we mean by thinking about Tai Chi and Qigong as whole person health.
Well, thank you very, very much. You give us a very clear definition about what a whole person health is. Just want to share a story with you. And I was talking to a friend, and asked me what Tai Chi is. I just said, well, Tai Chi is holistic, it's a whole person. And I gave one example. I say this is one Tai Chi or Qigong form I taught, and some people have how should I say, arthritis, and some people have immune problem, and all those kind of issues. And then, but after practice, their symptoms all, reduce, and they all feel better. I say, so it's not just for one area, and it's for whole person. And then after I explained the whole thing, then the person said, well, so what is good for hypertension? Should I practice Tai Chi? It's totally lost on that person, but I guess I did not articulate well enough, like Dr. Yeh just presented. And however, I do think that in the Western culture, and then this is a kind of foreign concept, even though it has been for a long time. And I'm so glad to know the NIH and the VA system, and institute like Harvard Medical School is really emphasize this. This is great. And so my understanding, the September conference and is the first one, and Harvard is hosting, right? And can you talk a little bit about how the idea came about, and then who you collaborate with for this conference?
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for that. So I have to say that, this conference is really the brainchild of my close colleague and collaborator, Dr. Peter Wayne, who's the director of the Osher Center for Integrative Medicine at Harvard, where I'm at. So I serve as the director of clinical research, and he's the overall executive director. And we've been actually working together doing Tai Chi research for 20 years plus. And I feel like we've been talking about this idea, this conference, really for as long as I can remember. I used to give these presentations where I would, put up a graph actually of the number of Tai Chi studies, if you do a PubMed search, the number of scientific studies, over the years. So the x-axis is the years and the y-axis is the number of publications. And you see this nice, increase over time. And I think over the last 10 to 15 years, it's really been exponential growth, really just an explosion of quality, research looking at Tai Chi and Qigong and health benefits and the mechanisms and, what's really going on. And so the last couple of years, Dr. Wayne and I said, now is the time. We really kind of came to a critical mass of research literature, and it's time to bring people together and review sort of the state of the science, understand where we are and where we want to go and where we're going in this field, and how can we bring Tai Chi and Qigong into more integrated into the contemporary healthcare. And I want to acknowledge that we know that there's been actually many different Tai Chi Qigong conferences over the years. So we're not the first Tai Chi Qigong conference, of course, but we really wanted this to be a international conference on a larger scale, with really the main focus on the science, really to look critically, at that science, and think about together, what our research agenda should be going forward.
Well, thank you very much. And for some of you, if you are not familiar with PubMed, is a website and hosted by the U.S. government, and then it how should I say, it contains all the research and paper there, and then you can do a search, and then you will pop up, and all the related research and the studies, and it's a good way. It's a very rich data source. So if you're ever interested in certain subject, you can go in and do a search there. And thank you. And regarding this conference, and my understanding is it consists of 4 parts: the speeches by the plenary speakers, and paper presentations, panel discussion, and the poster presentation. And can you explain a little bit what entail in each track, and what attendees can expect, participants can expect? And because even though I understand it is an academic, how should I say, a conference, however, your effort is trying to make more accessible to as many people as possible. And I have talked to a lot of Tai Chi and Qigong instructors. They're very excited, and I'm sure they're not really in the academic field. And then also some of my students and my readers, and they have shown the interest. So if you can explain what they can expect, and I think that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing that I'll say is that our hope, and one of the goals is actually to bring together a very broad and diverse audience. We want participation from not just the scientists and the researchers, but from practitioners, from teachers, from students, from people, leaders in health policy, or policy that can actually help inform all of us. So we want everybody to participate and be at a table, because I think that's where the real meaningful dialogue can come about, right? So that's really one of our goals. And we also want people internationally as well. We really want the international representation, so that is not just in the US. I think we're hoping for our colleagues in Asia, in China, in Korea, in Japan, as well as Asia, as well as Europe and Australia, right, and everywhere really in the US, in the world. So in terms of the conference sort of structure and agenda, so we have 5 main plenary panel sessions, and this will be everybody sort of in the big room together. There will be 5 of them, and there will be individual presentations by the experts followed by a panel discussion, and it will be moderated. And the first one will just set the stage for the whole conference, and it's really about mind-body movement, Tai Chi as mind-body movement, and this integration across the systems, as I was talking about. So we'll have different people with different presenting with their different kind of cross-system perspectives, right? And then we're going to have 2 panels that are on the state of the science of Tai Chi and Qigong. So this will be summaries of what we know in the literature, the best evidence of Tai Chi and Qigong for certain things like cognitive function, falls and balance prevention, neurophysiology, mental health, pain, cognitive function, cardiopulmonary conditions. Then we'll have one plenary panel session that's on implementation of Tai Chi in the healthcare setting. And this is going to really look at the VA system as an example of how Tai Chi and Qigong has been implemented, in their healthcare system. And we'll talk a little bit about sort of the whole, I guess, facilitators and barriers of implementing Tai Chi and Qigong in modern healthcare. And then the 5th plenary session is going to be on new frontiers in energy medicine. So really pushing this envelope a little bit. So on energy medicine and biofields, as one, we think about Tai Chi and Qigong as in many bins, as exercise, physical exercise, as a sort of mental, as a mental practice, but there's also a piece of it with energy medicine, and we want to try to tap into that a little bit at this conference. So those are the main plenary sessions. Then we're going to have several concurrent kind of breakout sessions where the attendees will have to choose between 3 or 4 sessions that are going to be going on at the same time. And that could be either an oral abstract session, so oral research abstract sessions where you'll be able to hear sort of the cutting edge research from the researchers themselves. They'll be presenting their work. Symposia sessions. And these were chosen really from all of the wonderful submissions that we got from all of you in our call for submissions, and it will be a wide range of topics covered. So as an example, we'll have for one session that Violet, you're going to be presenting in, actually, which we're very excited about, is about Tai Chi and Qigong in women, right? So that's a really nice session there. There's going to be another session on innovative methodology like remote delivery, virtual delivery of Tai Chi and Qigong programs. There'll be another one on sort of issues around credentialing of Tai Chi and Qigong providers, and sort of those issues in implementation. And then there's going to be one that I think I'm very excited about, and I think will be hopefully interesting to many of your readers and the Tai Chi practitioners, is a session around getting involved in research. If you're not already a researcher, but you want to get involved in some way, or understanding the Tai Chi Qigong research, and that's really going to be geared towards Tai Chi Qigong practitioners and teachers and students, right? So there's going to be many different kind of topics, in the symposia. And then we're going to have another category of actually experientials, which we created this new category because of all these types of submissions that we got when we asked people to submit symposia. So we created a new category of experientials, and this is going to allow the attendees to get a brief introduction to different innovative Tai Chi Qigong programs for specific populations. And then they'll be able to get a little taste of that as an experiential. So we're going to have those sessions. And then, of course, we'll have poster presentations as well. And that could be a poster presentation, sort of traditional research abstract presentation, or a poster on some sort of innovative clinical model, or implementation of Tai Chi and Qigong. So those are the multiple sort of tracks and our main main program. And so there's going to be, and I hope, a little bit for everybody. And again, that hope is to bring together a very diverse audience.
Well, sounds great. And so I guess because it's a whole person health, and you guys also made it like a 360-degree. You cover all different areas relates to that, and I can not imagine how much work that is, and the challenge. I don't know you even want to think about it, talk about it. The challenges you guys have encountered. It's just too much to deal with.
Oh no, I mean, I think it's actually been really exciting for Peter and I, again, just because we've been talking about this for such a long time, to actually have it move forward and know that it's going to really happen in September. It's incredibly exciting, and we think it's a great opportunity for the whole field and for all the researchers and practitioners and anybody who's interested in, or just really passionate about, or involved in this healing art in any way. And we've been really fortunate to have a very dedicated team to work with. So, we have a conference organizer partner that we work with named Conference Solutions. And we have a planning committee, which is made up of several scientists, as well as practitioners. And I think that our biggest challenge really is just getting the word out about this conference, particularly to our international colleagues who may need some extra time to actually plan their attendance. So I really appreciate your work, Violet, and this interview, and helping us to really let people know about this opportunity. And we hope that we'll see folks in September, and perhaps this will. Again, this is the first inaugural conference of this particular gathering, but we hope that it may lead to many more in the future.
Yeah, I certainly hope so too, and because it is so important and more than ever, and in this country, and we spend 18% of our GDP on healthcare, and however, if we compare the healthcare people citizens actually get in comparison with other countries, and then it's not really that high. It's not ranked that high, and so we find Tai Chi and Qigong and other how should I say, healing art can really help people to be healthier, and then in a lot more economical way. It's a preventive medicine, and now as well as a healing art. So if people really have issues with some health problems, it can be helpful, and you can integrate it into other treatment, and then make it a lot more economically in that sense, and also actually make patient feels better also, because a lot of treatment I'm talking about the regular standard Western medicine treatment sometimes can be painful or uncomfortable. And so there's one question, since a lot of people, they really like to go, and but it's kind of far in Boston. And if people have to travel from the southwest corner of the US and go to Boston, that's kind of far. So some people ask me, say, will the conference be live streamed? And of course, that would be a huge undertaking itself, especially with so many tracks, as you mentioned, they are concurrently taking place. So.
Yeah, so, at the moment, this conference is really designed to be in person only. And we really hope, after the pandemic, that people will be excited to actually gather, in person. I realize that not everybody, will be able to come. And so we may have several of the sessions recorded, if that's the case. But we do strongly encourage, as best as folks can, to actually come and attend it in person. And I didn't mention before, but one of our our commitments for this conference is really to allow participation as best as possible. So we really want students and trainees to be able to come, and so we have scholarships for those folks. We really have a commitment to diversity and equity inclusion, and we've actually given out several scholarships already to allow folks that would not otherwise be able to come or are in underserved areas. And so I think that that's really an important piece of this.
Well, thank you for working so hard, even thought about and then to getting the scholarship for individuals, and that's great. And earlier I mentioned that you have done many research, and you have done at least 20 funded clinical trials. And so would you share with us, personally, why you choose this area as your research topic?
Yeah, so this goes way back, very personal sort of connection. I've been long interested in East Asian medicine and Tai Chi and Qigong through just my personal experience growing up with my mother, who had a chronic illness. And I really was able to see, that power of the integration of Eastern plus Western, medicine. So that integrative healthcare, that whole person, health. And this was also the reason why, I went into medicine in general, to become a physician. So as I was, in and out of hospitals with my mother growing up, I learned that there are really certain things that Western medicine is, very good at. So there's no question when you need your antibiotics, you need your antibiotics. When you need surgery, you need surgery. But there was a whole other piece, of health that Western medicine, I think, was lacking, and that's when you talk about people with chronic conditions. And I think that there was really a lot to be learned from this whole person approach, and many of the traditional, healing paradigms like traditional Chinese medicine, from where, Tai Chi and Qigong, has some roots, right? So my mother actually practiced Tai Chi, and I saw that this really helped her, recover from her many surgeries, not just, physical strength, but really, her whole physiology and mentally, as well. So that's, from a very young age, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. I knew I wanted to help people, very, very, very simply. And I know everybody says that, but then I really said to myself that I was going to find this nice combination, and bring in the best that both of these East and West approaches, have. And at one point I had a decision to make whether I wanted to be mainly a clinician, or if I wanted to actually bring in the research as well. And I decided that the research piece of it was so important, because we were at the time where this research was just getting started. And I think in order for it to truly be incorporated into our healthcare is to have some science behind it. And so this last 20 some years has been really exciting for me to see that happen, right? And my research currently is really centered around this mindful movement. I'm really interested in mind body, the meditation piece of it, together, that intersection with physical activity, and what happens in the with mindful movement, not just the seated meditation, but what happens when you actually bring in the movement. It's embodied cognition in an embodied way. And I'm also very interested in how it can increase self-efficacy in helping behavior change. So, I study Tai Chi and Qigong in patients with heart disease, and with chronic lung disease, patients with cardiovascular risk factors like high blood pressure, obesity, metabolic syndrome. And in all these populations, increasing physical activity is so important. And so looking at how Tai Chi and Qigong can actually help promote that.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And I know that your time is very precious, and especially you're extremely busy right now with your practice, your research, and also hosting, organizing this event. But I do want to just ask one question. Do you practice Tai Chi and Qigong? And then if so, for how long? And then also, what's your personal feeling when you actually practice yourself?
So I'd say that my personal practice is sort of a combination, I think, of various pieces that I've learned throughout the years. I feel like my daily practice is probably more like a mindfulness meditation. But in terms of the Tai Chi and Qigong, I studied for a bit many years ago with Dr. Yang. And at that time, he had his evidence-based Tai Chi program. I think he now has a program called Hua Qi. And that program is really distilling the core pieces of Qigong as well as traditional Tai Chi practice. I believe his lineage is Chen style, but really what he teaches is much more sort of fundamental, than that. And so I learned a lot of that. Over the years, I've learned a ton from my colleague Peter Wayne, and he's been the one to teach in all of our Tai Chi studies as well as oversee the instructors in our studies. And what he's taught in our studies there, which I've learned from, is also this sort of distilling these core kind of principles and basic movements, Qigong movements like cloud hands, or doing just one particular movement like brush knee twist step, but doing it in cyclic repetition instead of stringing it together in any type of choreography. So these are it's a sort of modified and specific style, to the studies. But I've learned, pieces of that over the years. And then I've also, learned from my family members, the 13 form Tai Chi. When my children were probably in middle school, as 6 or 7 years ago, my kids, my daughter and son, as well as my husband and my father, went to Wudang Mountain, Wudang San, for a summer, for 6 to 8 weeks, to study in a camp there in Tai Chi. And unfortunately, because of work, I could not go. But they came back and taught me what they knew, and so I have that piece of it as well. And I find that again, it's a mixed combination of what I practice on a daily basis, but I keep it to the sort of really fundamental, a lot of fundamental sort of Qigong exercises, and it's not only, similar to what I saw for what it did for my mother. It provides me with physical movement, physical strength. It provides me that, physiology, help decrease my stress, help with my blood pressure, but also just really teaching me that mindful awareness, I think has been really applicable to all of my life, to my work, to being a busy clinician. And it's really a gift.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your personal stories with us. And actually, and it doesn't matter which style of Tai Chi or Qigong people practice. And the underlying and the principles are very much the same, and it's all great. And like you say, it's mind body practice. And Dr. Yang is another person I have so much respect for. He has a congenital heart problem. And then he tried all different kind of exercise before he was introduced to Tai Chi Chuan, and he studied from Grandmaster Feng Ziqiang, and it's so-called 恒元心意 Chen style Tai Chi. It's not a traditional Chen style Tai Chi, but it's the sense very good. And Dr. Yang got his PhD degree in kinetics from the University of Illinois, but he has devoted himself to promote Tai Chi Chuan by doing research and also teaching. So like I say, I hold a high respect for him. And so you've been studying with all the good people, and that's wonderful. And again, I know your time is very precious. We can sit here and talk forever because I enjoy this very much. So, but I know, and we have to conclude this, and we will listen to you speak and during the conference, right?
Yes, yes. And I look forward to seeing everybody there. We're very excited.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. And in case you have not registered yet, and please do so quickly. And the name of the conference is the Whole-personHealth Conference, and I can put up the link in the video, and then also in the article I will be publishing. So you can just click the link and go to the website and register yourself. Again, thank you very much, Dr. Yeh. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Violet.